I've made several videos about this already, warning Massachusetts drivers what is coming their way. Obviously, Uber and Lyft are trying to con them in to get their vote. The first research has already come out of Massachusetts. And once you see this, right, you will sort of understand how California drivers got conned under Proposition 22. I just ask you not to make the same mistake, right? Learn from the California mistakes. Many California drivers regretted putting their name behind Prop 22. A lot of those privileges that were promised to make you an independent contractor in California were yanked away, and they're just setting you up for a failure. And the big failure here is you could be earning $4.82 per hour. It's a joke. It's not even going to cover your synthetic oil change. It's not even going to cover your gas. You're going to be in a deep hole working at a massive minus, and they don't care. They don't really care because they just churn and burn, right? It's like a conveyor belt of drivers. Get a cup, extract a couple of trips out of them, spit them out. Next on the conveyor belt. Washing machine, done, out, next in, out. So once you understand how they operate, you'll definitely think twice voting for Uber and Lyft. So a new Massachusetts proposition pushed by Uber and Lyft could mean some drivers only make $4.82 an hour, a study says. And that proposition, my friends, is very much a duplicate of what happened in California, and they're going to try and push that in other states, right? So rideshare driver Teresa Mercado raises her fist in support as app-based gig workers held a driving demonstration with 60 to 70 vehicles blocking Spring Street in front of LA City Hall. It's obviously not Boston or Massachusetts related. Uber and Lyft are backing a proposition that would classify drivers as contractors in Massachusetts. A USC Berkeley, and that is a university with a massive reputation. So if they are conducting research, they say that loopholes could result in drivers making as little as $4.82 an hour. I'd put my weight on that one, right? I would trust their research. The group behind the proposal says it would guarantee drivers at least 120% of minimum wage. So the Massachusetts proposition put forward by gig economy companies including Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash, the same thugs that backed the California one, could result in drivers and riders taking home just a quarter of the hourly minimum wage. A study from UC Berkeley says the ballot proposition would count drivers and riders as contracted workers rather than employees and could appear on the November 2022 ballot. The proposition states it will guarantee workers for rideshare companies earn at least 120% of the minimum wage, which the researchers said would work out to $18 an hour. Minimum wage in Massachusetts is set to increase to $15 per hour in 2023 from $13.50 per hour currently. But analyzing data from Uber and Lyft, the researchers said 5 loopholes in the proposition could cut into workers' wages. They estimated drivers and riders working a typical 15-hour work week would only make $4.82 per hour after costs, while those working a 40-hour work week would make $6.74 an hour. It's pathetic, my friends. It did not analyze the consequences for DoorDash drivers. The group behind the proposition, the Massachusetts Coalition for Independent Work, said the research was based on questionable statistics. In the study, researchers said one reason earnings would be so much lower than minimum wage is because the companies would only guarantee pay for engaged time. Does this sound familiar? Right, this is exactly what they put on the ballot in California, engaged time. This is the time drivers and riders spend traveling to jobs and transporting passengers or deliveries. You're not going to get paid for those dead miles, my friends. Uber's own data indicate that engaged time amounts to only 67% of the driver's actual working time. The companies would not pay for the approximately 33% of the time that drivers are waiting between passengers or returning from trips to outlying areas. California drivers can tell you many stories about that. The researchers also said that reimbursements from Uber and Lyft would not cover drivers' operating costs, that a health stipend written into the proposition would only benefit a minority of drivers, and that as contractors, drivers, and riders would have to pay both employer and employee shares of payroll taxes. Exactly the same as they did here in California. Drivers are guaranteed at least 26 cents per mile. It's a joke for vehicle upkeep and gas under the proposal, and companies would have to pay healthcare stipends to some drivers, exactly as it happened in California. The Massachusetts Coalition for Independent Work, which is behind the proposition, said on its website that the proposal explicitly states that drivers would earn at least 120% of minimum wage, plus pay to cover mileage and vehicle expenses, plus tips, which makes this a higher earnings floor than offered in countless other industries. Opponents of the Massachusetts ballot question, which would protect driver independence and flexibility while creating historic new benefits, have continued to push false and misleading information about the ballot question that are not only at odds with the facts, but don't stand up to scrutiny when compared with the success of Proposition 22 in California. California Prop 22, which is similar to the Massachusetts proposition, passed in November 2020, and I can tell you, many drivers got shafted. Most of the drivers did not return. Rideshare drivers told The Guardian in February 2021 that they'd seen a fall in wages after it passed. A California judge ruled Proposition 22 to be unconstitutional in August. The researchers said in their study that Uber and Lyft have repeatedly refused to make their own data public. Of course, for a complete analysis, the state needs much more data from the companies, including detailed numbers on wait times, hours worked, and earnings, especially for the regular part and full-time drivers who do most of the driving. They said Uber and Lyft and DoorDash did not immediately respond when contacted by Insider for comment, right? You see, too embarrassing. They don't want to be caught in their own lies. Have a great day, my friends. Please stay safe and please comment. And Massachusetts drivers, if you're watching the video, let me know what you think. I want to hear from you. Thank you.